We get two more puck drops before Kaapo Kakko goes off to compete for Team Finland in Four Nations. We'll hear from him on that and also give you a Jordan Eberle update. But don't forget, Seattle hockey fans, it's a game day. And I've got some stats, some you might not want to hear, but we got to talk about it. All that's coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what do you say, Seattle hockey fans? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we bring you news from your favorite team, the Seattle Kraken, every single day. Erica L. Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken. And you might hear my voice a cracking, but I'm getting better, getting stronger day by day. It's also super cold here in Tulsa, but I won't complain because we almost hit 80 degrees the other day, and now we're getting back to about 30 degrees, whereas I saw the snow. I saw the snow in Seattle. So I hope for all of us, we're staying safe, we're staying warm and healthy. I've still got some tea here. Anyway, want to let you know that today's episode of Locked On Kraken is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. I'm going to start with something that quite honestly threw me off for a little bit. We got an email for those who are signed up to just kind of the regular Seattle Kraken emails. It was kind of like Kaapo Kakko going off, to compete with Team Finland, and it came in the other day. And I was like, we still have 2 games left, but I also realized that tonight is Kaapo Kakko's last home game before the Four Nations break. And so I think that's why we've been hearing a lot about Kaapo Kakko and him getting ready for Four Nations, because the Seattle Kraken will have some practices. So media, or I guess really just one practice, and maybe they'll have practice. It's not guaranteed. But before Kaapo Kakko leaves for Calgary, but he kind of broke down what the timeline is, because Four Nations is coming up. For those who don't know, Four Nations is in lieu of the All-Star weekend this year. So it's the United States, Canada, Sweden, and Finland, players from those nations that are going to compete. They've got games in Montreal as well as games in Boston. But here's Kaapo Kakko breaking it all down. Again, he was very generous with his time today, talking a little bit about when he found out. I thought he had a really interesting answer to his reaction to making the team and all that stuff. But let's hear from Kaapo Kakko, and then we'll break it all down.
I'm gonna fly right after the game to Montreal. That's the plan. Yeah, it's something else during the season. I think those are gonna be fun games, fun tournament. A lot of friends over there playing with the team Finland, so it's good to see them, and a lot of them I haven't been playing with, so that's also nice. Play with the good friends, good guys, a lot of good players there, so it's going to be fun.
Who are some of your best buds on the team?
You mean the Team Finland?
Yes.
There's a lot of good ones. I think Rantanen, one of them, I worked out with him during the summer. Nico Mikkola, I played with him Rangers. Vakanainen, I had him for maybe 1 week, but it's nice to see him again. I mean, a lot of guys like that, good guys, but I think those ones I'm talking kind of a lot during the season also. Maybe a couple months ago. They just called me like a day before they announced the team, so that was it.
Did you have a feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is not even too many options, to be honest. So, I mean, yeah, I was kind of waiting, but still a lot of good players, but kind of you never know. But I think I had okay like start of the season, so I was kind of waiting a little bit, but yeah, that's it.
Have you liked your time here in Seattle, your resurgence the last handful of games since the trade from New York?
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I feel better on the ice. I think that helps. Off the ice also, I feel pretty good. Got settled in. It's already been like over 20 games, so it's kind of a long time, and I think the team can get better. We can win more games, but for sure for me, I feel better over here.
Have you noticed any changes in your game, how you play from confidence perspective, from an on-ice standpoint? What have you noticed about your game in particular?
Yeah, I feel getting just more chances. I think the confidence is way higher. I feel it on the ice also. So that's a big thing out there, and I can feel that it's higher.
What's it been for Dan? I know it's been 22 games or so, but what have you been able to learn about him and playing under him?
I mean, in my game, I feel I can try to do something, especially in the offensive zone. You know, like trying to make plays. I mean, sometimes you're gonna make mistake, but if you doesn't try, you're never gonna make a play. So, and I think that's the confidence also. Like when you're trying to do those things, you maybe score a goal or something, and then feel good about it, and then you're gonna try it again, and it's gonna work out. So that's about the confidence, and you still have to be smart when you're trying to do those things. You know, like you gotta be smart, but there's times you can try to do something, and I mean it's working out right now.
Your line has been really good. Did that production come from just the reps, or do you guys have conversations, watch film together?
I think it's always kind of hard, especially for me, like coming for a new team, and a lot of players I knew but like haven't been playing together. So I think it's always take a little time with the new line mates, but after a couple games, I feel we kind of knew what we're doing out there, and I think lately it's been pretty good. We're getting a lot of chances and goals also during the game, so it's feeling good.
What's that relationship like with your line? I mean, we see Dunn and Larson, you know, they hang out together all the time. They're best friends, right? What is your relationship with Matty and with Jaden Schwartz?
Great guys, both of them. I mean, Schwartzy was one of the first guys texting me after the trade. He's been helping a lot, always asking you need something, and Matty also a great guy, pretty smart on the ice, off the ice also, but especially on the ice, I like to play with them.
And so, again, that's Kaapo Kakko talking about a few different things, including the Four Nations and being with Jaden Schwartz and Matty Beniers, who is smart on and off the ice. I thought that was a little fun thing there. But so Kaapo Kakko talking about, a few of the players that he'll be with on Team Finland: Sebastian Aho, Alexander Barkov, Mikael Grenland, Rupe Hintz, Patrick Laine. He specifically mentioned Mikko Ratinen, who is with the Hurricanes, and Nico Mikola, who plays with the Panthers, as two guys that he knows from the Predators. We'll have UC Soros, Kevin Lankinen, so from Vancouver. So, I think it's going to be an interesting experience. Kaapo was a little tough on himself, saying that, he was a little surprised, didn't know if maybe it was just because there weren't enough players to fill the roster. I think a lot of people do have him as maybe like a third, potentially even fourth line. But I also was taken by what Kaapo Kakko said regarding his time with Seattle. So if you look at his stats, He played 30 games for the Rangers this season. 4 goals, 10 assists for 14 points, was a +9. 22 games for the Seattle Kraken. He already has 5 goals, 12 assists. His shooting percentage with the Rangers in 30 games, 8.9%, versus with the Seattle Kraken, 15.6%. Also with the Rangers in 30 games, his average time on ice was 13 minutes, 17 seconds. His average time on ice with the Seattle Kraken in 22 games, 17 minutes, 15 seconds. He is a -1 with the Seattle Kraken, but again, the Seattle Kraken are kind of struggling. He doesn't have any game-winning goals, just one for the Rangers this season, and none yet for the Seattle Kraken. But, you know, here's hoping. Here's hoping, Kaapo. We've got 2 games before the little break here. But I also liked what he said about getting acclimated and Jaden Schwartz being one of the first guys that reached out. That just sounds like Jaden. He is that kind of leader. We've talked about that on the show before. I even thought he could be captain material. And I do think he's serving as kind of an unspoken proxy in that way. But speaking of the actual captain of the Seattle Kraken, coming up, we'll hear a little bit from Dan Bylsma regarding Jordan Eberle, and his progress. He was seen on the ice without a red practice jersey. Was that maybe just a little bit of a wardrobe error or what? We'll hear again from Dan Bylsma coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken. As I mentioned at the top of the show, today's episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Looking for tickets for your next big event? Whether it's a concert, a comedy show, or a sporting event, find the right ticket at the right price. Well, that can be a headache. But with Game Time Picks, it's never been easier. Here's how it works. With Game Time Picks, the app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. The Game Time Picks, feature is all about creating curated deals to make it super simple to find great tickets at a great price. No more sifting through thousands of options. You can grab super deals for prime seats, and you won't believe the value. It's truly a steal. And you can also do the view from your seats, which I personally love and have used with Game Time before. You can see exactly what your seat will look like in the venue. So it's extremely reassuring when you buy with Game Time. But if you needed more assurance, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Hey, thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. Erica L. Ayala here. You can find me on Blue Sky these days because, well, I just prefer Blue Sky. I'll leave it there. And we'll leave it there for now. But you can, if you want to know the real, in addition to what I've griped about where X just would not give me back my account with over 10K. Now I've got bigger fish to fry. But either way, find me on Blue Sky at eLindsay over at Blue Sky Social. And listen, Jordan Eberle, how could things have been different with a healthy Jordan Eberle? He started off the season with a tear, was our leader on the court, was our leader on the ice, our leader off of the ice. And although he's around the team, he's coming back from a pretty significant injury and a pretty significant surgery. He was seen on the ice once again before morning skate, participated in morning skates. And, it was noted, I saw circling Seattle Sports and a few other places noting that he did not have the red jersey. Now, usually in sports, when you're donning that red jersey, it's basically you're no contact, right? And so it had a lot of people wondering what was going on before. Of course, we heard from Dan Bylsma, who pretty much set the record straight, but he also gave us a little bit of an idea of what the rehabilitation process will look like for Jordan Eberle, because as we talked about in the first segment, there's a Four Nations break. So will that be extra training time for Jordan Eberle? Kind of what does that look like? Let's hear from Disco Dan himself.
He didn't have a red on today. Again, no, it's a long progress, coming back from the injury he had and the surgery he had. So it's, I'll just call them baby steps at this time, and morning skate, being with the guys. It's good for the guys, but it's good for Ebs as well. Riker, it was day to day. Not going to disclose his injury, but he's day to day still progressing, I'll say. It's great for the group. It's great for Ebs, and I think it just it just gives a feeling that he's in there with the guys, with the groups, not out on the ice playing games, but his leadership is in that room, and it's a big part of it, and just having him in and around. He's been around a lot, back here in his rehab and working out, but getting him back on the ice is just a sign that it's a little closer, that we're going to get him back.
So again, nothing imminent. It's not immediate. And we did hear that he will have a break. Now, some of that is just, kind of baked in. It's, I guess, technically, since this is the All-Star break, anyone, there's certain things that the teams can and cannot do, I would assume, just like if it were an All-Star break. That being said, of course, there's the Four Nation tournament, and we've been doing the NHL squad shows. I know they totally ripped off our Squadcast thing. That's a whole nother thing. But anyway, so you might see, I think usually they've been coming up on Thursdays. You'll see an additional episode. It's a squad show, and we should be labeling those now separate from, Locked On Kraken shows, because I think for a little while they were kind of looking like, oh, it's just a bonus Kraken show, and then you wouldn't see me on camera because I haven't been able to do a squad show yet. We pick a time that works for everyone. But in the latest squad show, the reason I mention that is because in the latest squad show, a group of folks talks about a group of NHL hosts talk about the Four Nations tournament. And so I'm curious to see, of course, it's always great to represent your country. Actually, a little bit of news. It does not directly involve the Seattle Kraken, but for those of you who are everydayers and OGers, I think you might enjoy learning that I have officially been accredited for Milano Cortina. So I'm not sure what that will look like with regard to any Seattle Kraken players, but of course, I am also the co-host of our women's hockey report. So I will be covering the men's and women's hockey tournament. At least that's the plan, in Milano Cortina in Italy. So exciting news that I just found out today. I'm pretty excited. Officially have been given that accreditation. So more to come on that, but it is a game day, Seattle hockey fans. So let's talk a little bit about what Dan Bylsma wants to see from this group, and what are some of the things to be on the lookout for when it comes to this Toronto Maple Leafs team. All that coming up on Locked On Kraken. All right, Seattle hockey fans, it is a game day. The Seattle Kraken, this will be their last game at home before the Four Nations break. Now, there's still plenty of season to go, but this is, I almost said episode, this is game number 56, taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm going to post just in a moment here the head-to-head. 50 points for your Seattle Kraken, 66 points for the Toronto Maple Leafs, 32-19-2. They are 13-8-2 away, and they are 5-5-0 in their last 10. The Seattle Kraken, 13-13-4 at home, 4-5-1 in their last 10. Mitch Marner coming in with 70 points. The power play for the Maple Leafs, 23.3% clip. The PK they have at a 79.6% clip. Both of those better, at least as of right now, than the Seattle Kraken. And here's the thing. This Seattle Kraken team needs points. We need to be able to get some points on the board. And talked about it yesterday. 2 power play goals to the Detroit Red Wings, not where the Seattle Kraken team wanted to be. And so they really have to level up here. And I'm looking at, 3 of the things that contributor Brett Barkley had to say regarding this game, and talks about hitting the gas pedal. The Kraken have fallen behind early in both of their last 2 outings. Well, we know it's not just the last 2 outings. I continue to tell you, this Seattle Kraken team, if they can't find a lead going into the third period, the likelihood is they are going to lose. That continues to be the case for the Seattle Kraken. If we look at the numbers now against this Toronto team, the Seattle Kraken, when trailing after 2 periods, the Seattle Kraken, when trailing after 2 periods, are 3-26-3. 3-26-3, 7-2-1 when tied after 2 periods, and when leading after 2 periods, 13-0. So yeah, gas pedal is huge. And also now the song is in my head. So well done to you, Brett. But also, this is interesting. Look for Brandon Montour as a potential candidate and the type of player to set the tone early, contributing anything from a big goal to a timely hit to give the Kraken some jump in the opening minutes. Now, I will say that Brandon Montour, if you're looking for hits, he can definitely get that for you. But I think something else, and I didn't play this clip, but something else to look for, Oliver Bjorkstrand expected to appear in his 600th career NHL game tonight, becomes the 6th Danish player in NHL history to reach that milestone. He's got 34 points, 15 goals, 19 assists in 54 games this season, and ranks 4th among all Kraken skaters. He is 3rd in goals and has 8 points in 18 career games versus Toronto. So he's definitely up there on the list. Alongside him, you got to look at, again, Brandon Montour, who was mentioned, and Jaden Schwartz. Leads Kraken skaters in 10 assists and 14 points in 16 career games versus Toronto. So I like that mix. I like that mix of Schwartz, Montour, and I'm going to say Oliver Bjorkstrand. So there you go. Now, here's another one that I would actually love to see. Jared McCann is on a 4-game point streak, recording 4 points in that span. He also co-leads the squad in goals, 6, and ranks 2nd in points, 12, and 3rd in assists in 22 career games against the Leafs. So Jared McCann, another player that could make a huge impact. It's the year of Beniers. And I talked also about Shane Wright yesterday. I want to see the youths, the next generation of Seattle Kraken players, which honestly probably needs to be this generation, but I digress. I want to see what we can get from Beniers and Shane Wright. I think that the way that they need to continue to find ways to impact the game for the Seattle Kraken to be successful this season and beyond. A few other things, Brett agrees with me regarding the youth group. He also throws in Kaapo Kakko, which of course, why not? We talked about Kaapo Kakko. We've got 2 more games before he heads off for Four Nations. So yes, I agree with that as well. And then know your foe. So I mentioned Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner remains day-to-day with a lower body injury, didn't play in a 6-3 win over the Calgary Flames on Tuesday. So we'll see if we get to see Mitch Marner. Either way, honestly, the Leafs were able to beat the Calgary Flames 6-3 without Marner. The Seattle Kraken really just need to focus on what they need to do. And to that end, here is what Disco Dan Bylsma had to say regarding this team and what needs to happen on the ice and what he's looking for from his squad.
Oh, we talk a lot about being connected and that is a lot of discipline, like being in the right spots, working back for your teammate, and working to be in good spots, and then the expectation of how we're going to execute in it is the discipline that it takes to make us a good team, and as it applies tonight, it's you desperately need it to play together, play connected, play as a 5-man unit, both offensively and defensively, to have success tonight.
I mean, that's not just tonight. That's what has been missing. A lot of those elements have been missing from Seattle Kraken hockey. So this is another opportunity for the Seattle Kraken to show that they have some motivation, that they can play with some urgency, that they can hit the 3 Fs: fun, fast, forechecking, and the 4th one is a bonus, that they can play free of whatever kind of is mucking up the thought process, the decision making, the execution. We talked about it on yesterday's episode. Shane Wright being told, hey, you got to shoot more, but also Dan Bylsma adding, we're expecting you to be a puck handler. So that youth movement, I mentioned the article up on NHL.com/Kraken, Brett talking about, the youths. You got to get the youths involved. And of course, we're talking Kaapo Kakko, who we talked about in the opening segment. It's the year of Beniers. So 2025 is the year of Beniers, but of course that means Shane Wright as well. So of course, I always want to see the 3 Fs. I want to see the young people get involved, but I really want to, I know I used to say this a lot. If you're an OGer, I go full Wakanda, show them who you are. This team hasn't done that with any consistency yet. I think another player and line that I'm looking to is going to be the Chandler Stevenson line. They had some giddy up a little bit more from Burakovsky. So, that's another opportunity there, but we're just kind of getting piecemeal performances from the Seattle hockey team. And the Toronto Maple Leafs might be a lot of things. I'm sure the Toronto Maple Leafs fans have a lot of things to say about them, but they're not to be trifled with. And this is a team, at least in the regular season, that you really have to show up and play for. This is also national television. I'm pretty confident Blake Bolden is going to be on the call for ESPN. So shout out to Blake Bolden, a walking Black History Month of just fact and multiple facts. And so I love that. Dear friend, have covered Blake in women's hockey. So wishing her a great call, wishing everyone a great call. I am probably going to listen on the radio again, get some cleaning done in the house. But I'm excited to see if this is the game or one of the next games where the Seattle Kraken really level up their play. Because whether Mitch Marner's on the ice or not, it's still the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Seattle Kraken are still, again, trying to exercise some demons of just inconsistency. So what's it going to be? Let me know in the comments Who is your impact player of this game? I'm curious if anyone's going to get it. I know I mentioned a lot of players, but I'm going to I'm going with Bjorkstrand. You know, I love Bjorkstrand. Number 22 is near and dear to my heart, like literally the number, but also the maestro. So I think it's time for the maestro to send us off into Four Nations with a sweet symphony. Let's get it started tonight. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And if you're going to the game, if you're watching the game, if you like me are probably going to watch the playback in the morning. Either way, reminder: we need you, Kraken Nation, to hold fast, to stay true, and loud and proud say, "Let's go Kraken." Hey, Erica L. Ayala here, and I will catch you on the next episode. Peace out, everybody.